in the gist of execution and knowing that there's a responsibility that we have as believers to walk out what's given to us as a free gift. Salvation is there. We understand that. Now it's about walking in it and living it. So God essentially won't do what you can do for yourself. Okay, so God isn't going to come down and do all of this stuff for you. You've got to be willing to take the steps, walk in the direction, apply and learn, grow, those kinds of things. So that's all a part of execution, and execution requires hard work. It requires showing up. Execution isn't easy. If it was easy, Jesus would say everybody would follow, everybody would do it, everybody would be included. But he's like, nah, man, the way is narrow. That pathway is narrow, man. It's not wide, it's narrow. Only very few will take it, will live it, and will walk through it. And then I keep kind of getting the principle of be, do, have, right? Deon's talked about that so many times here. But be, do, have. That is a major, major principle behind all of this. Everybody knows Valentine's Day just passed, right? Shout out Deon, that whole entire Valentine's Day post. And I think that really sums up, really, I think for me, I guess this early portion of the conversation. There's so many people that are going out of their way, make these extravagant purchases, and make people that they say they love, they're in love with, the most special person on the planet for one day. But what's crazy is they won't put that same energy into growing into being a better them, a better you. All the flowers and chocolates and all the cards, and the day is just special, shower with gifts. But you won't put that same energy into becoming a better man. Because what's crazy is like social media is seeing all this stuff, and you're taking pictures and you're putting the hashtags and you're getting a lot of likes and comments and how cute and how special. But like she sees the real you. She sees the you that they don't see, right? So she sees the stuff and deals with the stuff that you don't bother posting. The laziness, the lack of effort on all other 364 days, but on that day you want to show up, right? You might, and if you're lucky, you might get a birthday gift. You might get a couple Christmas gifts along the way during the year. The point of it is there's a necessity to become the person. There's a necessity to become. And that portion, that process of becoming has a lot to deal with execution. These people in the scriptures really understood the risk of what it would look like to not partake and live out the faith. And yes, I think that's something I was thinking before we got on here. I think we have so many conversations about the blessing and about the benefit, finding your purpose. It's amazing. It's a life that you've never seen before, and all that's true. But I don't think we spend as much time talking about the risk of not reaching that point, the risk of not becoming that, the risk that you are placing yourself, your future self, your future family, your calling, or your talents, all that. Like, we don't talk enough about the risk that's implemented into that by not pursuing it. And I think if we spent more time analyzing what the risk is, oftentimes it'll move us into a space of moving quickly, moving with intention, moving with purpose. Understanding what the risk was major for people like Paul and Peter and the apostles, people like James. Like, this was the real deal. This was real. And I think a part of it not knowing how real it is because of how Americanized we've placed this faith. And it sucks to a degree because we're missing out on so much in-depth understanding that I think does nothing but skyrocket our faith. So know what you need to execute. I think we have to evaluate how sincere we are, because this faith is a whole lot more to it than just saying, I believe and I'm good. Because I think that's how we get into trouble, man. He said he needs to be better with someone. When someone says something rude, he'll typically say something back without thinking. Then after a minute feel like crap, or saying something mean because I know it wasn't godly. Yeah, so working on our mouth, working on our tongue. This is, okay, cool. So now that you notice that, I want us to get into a place where we're recognizing the risk of us not fixing that. So what's the risk for your future family, your future children, your future you, if you don't work on that? And I want you to think of the worst. It could be a divorce. Future wife walks away and takes the children. You have no job. You can't keep a job because nobody, nobody values you at your word, and nobody really appreciates the work environment that you create because it's toxic. because of the words you use, because of how you talk to other people. How much are your relationships deteriorating because of the way you speak to them? All those kinds of things. So if we can acknowledge that, bro, I really feel like that's just freeing in so many ways.
And I'm glad you're leading to that, great, because that is the question. What is not happening in your life because you are not executing?